6 AI agents, each built with a unique edge. Miko, AI, Team Leader. Ori AI, Fundamental Analyst. Exi, AI, Technical Analyst. Mesa, AI, Risk Management Specialist. Fenwa, AI Market Sentiment Analyst. And Naledi AI, the cryptocurrency expert. Together, they're engineered to protect, guide, and transform your trading. The future of trading is here. Experience Zentrix AI.
Okay, what's up people? Welcome back to another stream. Hope everyone is doing well. As always guys, if you are enjoying the content, please be sure to drop a like, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell so you don't miss out on any streams or uploads in the future. And of course, make sure you share it with your friends. It does really help the channel grow. So I do really appreciate that. What is up? Bengiwa, hope I'm saying that correctly. Welcome to the stream. Hope you are doing good. Tony Gold, as always, welcome to the stream. Hope you are well. So guys, as always, we'll start with the USD side of things first. Take a look at the DXY, USD majors, gold and silver. Some interesting markets to go through at the moment. Of course, we've got NFP tomorrow, so we're expecting fireworks, but we shall see. And then we'll take a look at the DX platform, share that with you guys. If you haven't checked it out already, we'll go through that quickly. And then, of course, we'll go through some requests. So if there's any pairs, any markets you do want me to take a look at, let me know. Put it in the chat. Any particular time frames as well, let me know too. If you do want me to look at something in particular, I will be happy to do that. But nonetheless, guys, let's get into it. LFTJ, good morning. Hope you're doing good. Savvy, good morning. I appreciate your consistency. Appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you. I'm glad you guys are enjoying the streams. And yeah, if you guys are enjoying the streams, I enjoy them as well. So a match made in heaven, really. But yeah, I appreciate you guys tuning into the streams as well and showing some love. But as always, we'll start with the DXY, then of course USD majors, gold and silver. So not a lot to report on, to be honest, with the dollar. For me, price is still trapped within the range, equal highs more or less and equal lows more or less within this channel. So really there's not much to speak about in terms of the progression of price. It's just the same as we talked about yesterday and pretty much the past couple of weeks, which is price is still trapped between support and resistance. So again, in terms of direction, things are pretty unclear. In terms of just opportunities, again, within the range, shorting the highs, buying the lows is your best bet. In the past 2-3 times price is reactive, we've seen some really nice moves from those areas. Even yesterday, or was that Monday? No, that was yesterday. Really nice rejection of that level. So you're still looking to call the top, still looking to call the lows. That's the best possible scenarios you'll find in ranging opportunities, shorting the highs, buying the lows, or unless if you're waiting for a breakout, waiting for trending conditions, then yeah, you're waiting for price to make a move outside the range. But until then, these are the best opportunities you will find. At the moment, we're literally in the middle, so this is the worst place to be. There's no significance in where price is trading or even in what price is doing. So in terms of whether price will do this or do that, it's 50-50 to me, so I won't really try and go into too much detail here to try and look for an opportunity, because you're looking too hard, you're probably wasting time. You can probably look at other pairs which are looking better, or if you are focused on the dollar, you can be patient, wait a day or two for things to improve. I mean, this time tomorrow, we've got NFP knocking on the door. You'll probably see some better opportunities post that news releasement. So I would say stay patient with the dollar. Not really seeing much clarity in terms of direction. I can still see a world where we do break to the upside to come back to highs, or we do break to the downside to come back to lows. So until we see price pick a direction, I'm going to stay a bit more neutral and just patient for price to make its move. Same thing for euro. Price is still trapped within the highs here and trapped within the lows. No progression outside of that range. Again, until price does break the highs or break the lows, then we'll have a bit more insight into where euro potentially could head to next. And of course, we'll keep an eye on the dollar at the same time as well. If we do break to the downside through support at 1.159, then for euro, I'm looking at a sweep back to the lows. If you do manage to break through the highs well, then I'm looking for price to return back to the highs over here at 1.182. So despite the move, despite the breakout, there's opportunities in both directions. Again, if you're looking to trade within the range, especially on a more of an intraday kind of time scale, looking to buy the lows and sell the highs is still a good opportunity. I mean, price has been respecting it very, very well over the past few weeks. So if that was your game plan, just looking to buy the lows and sell the highs, you probably would have walked away with some really nice returns. Of course, this is not going to happen forever. Price is eventually going to break out, and it's difficult to know when, which is why it's important for price to wait for price to actually get to these zones, react well, and then look for your buys and then look for your sells, not just jumping straight in. But of course, when price does eventually break out, then again, direction will become a little bit more clearer, at least to me anyway, for Euro. And then we can plot our buys, plot our setups from then onwards. But for now, it's just back and forth within the range. And not much development on that side of things. Pound USD likewise as well. We came into some very nice level of support. If you look to our left, really nice reaction over there, nice reaction over there. Briefly resistance over there as well. Didn't quite test it over there, but we well and truly did on Wednesday. And we've seen a really nice reaction. Well, somewhat of a nice reaction. We haven't really properly got going yet, but we have seen some upside from that support level. So same situation applies. Back at the low of support, rejected well, nice reaction. And likewise with the highs over here, with this kind of double top around 1.358. Also looking for selling opportunities at that level. So same with Euro, until price does make a move outside of this range. Direction to me is just 50-50 right now. Again, if you're looking to call support and buy from that level, call resistance and sell from that level, I think those are nice opportunities as well. But in terms of where the biggest swing will be, where the trend's going to be headed towards next, I'm looking at these two areas in particular. If we do start trending lower, basically break through support here, then that becomes my target. Breaks through the highs, then the resistance up there becomes my target. So I can see price going both ways. It's just waiting for price to make its move. And again, a lot of trading is just about waiting and biding your time. You don't want to rush into anything. And at the moment, I'm not really seeing much apart from buying the lows and selling the highs. Dollar CAD's an interesting one because this was part of my watch list. It still is a part of my watch list, but I'm not the biggest fan of the retracement, so I'm being a little bit more cautious before I do jump into anything. But I am keeping an eye on selling opportunities at this particular level. Really nice area of supply. Of course, we had that original drop to the downside. Lovely consolidation for about a couple of days. And then we saw some nice momentum spill over and more strength from that area. So as price comes back to retest it, I'm looking for selling opportunities to see if I can take price back lower. And of course, this will be my first major target. Possibly even a push down to these lows will interest me, but one step at a time for now. The reason I like dollar CAD shorts is really the level which we're rejecting on the higher time frames. We're coming from a very, very significant level on the weekly chart. As we can see, resistance almost over there, resistance there again, resistance there again, and looks like prices come back into that area. Really nice wick, and we're seeing some rejection. So if we're going to reject this area, we could see somewhat of a repeat of prior reactions, which are not small. These are pretty big moves to the downside. I do think a push back to the lows here is a pretty reasonable expectation there for dollar CAD after a successful rejection of that level. So I'm pretty bearish in that regard. Of course, price could still potentially break through. Just because we've respected it doesn't mean we're guaranteed to fall, but we most likely are. If, of course, price does show signs that it's breaking above, I will get rid of that bias. Perhaps we're seeing a much bigger up move in that case. But until then, I do have that bearish bias. So putting back into a nice area of supply like this in the full hour is an area which I can consider too short from, provided I see some nice entry confirmations. And I like the way price got there, which is a little bit up in the air at the moment. It's quite aggressive. This does look like a bowl shape pattern, which, as I was talking about yesterday, isn't necessarily a pattern that represents retracement. It's more reversal. So because of that, I do want price to slow down, become a bit more corrective, really show some heavy rejection at this area before I do consider shorting. And if we can get that, that'll be brilliant. Then I'll take it to lows and then so on and so forth. But yeah, that is the plan at the moment there for dollar CAD. Aussie dollar's just been very flat, respecting highs, respecting lows. Again, the plan this week was looking to see what we can do at resistance. Nice rejection there. I did say this is not a big swing I'm looking for. It's more so just a reaction at highs. Likewise, if we do get back to lows again, I think that'll be a smart place for a buy. But again, I'm not looking for a crazy move here. As I zoom out, Aussie dollar looks very, very flat to me. So it's just about kind of finding key areas where price is likely to react from, taking advantage of those moves. Maybe it does turn into a big move. Maybe it's just a shallow move. Price will eventually show its hand. But in terms of these areas, definitely key levels of resistance. And as long as price shows adequate rejection and entry confirmations, you can take some shorts here, just like we did early in the week. And we've seen another reaction there again. If you were to short again, I'll probably have similar targets for a push back into the low. And if you do see price rally beyond this, this is still a key level to short from as well. Of course, the high, the swing high, you could call it, back at 0.662. I still think that would be a smart place to look for some shorts as well. So, yeah, very bearish on Aussie at these levels in particular, and of course bullish from these levels here. But the aim of the game is looking to sell high and buy low, really. It's not trending well, so positioning and location of your entries is really, really important. And these areas would fit that criteria. New Zealand dollar, this one has been, of course, in a slight bear. Well, I say slight, it has been in a pretty nice bearish trend. We've got this descending channel kind of encompassing price very, very well. The plan early in the week was looking for price to actually come back and retest the upper end of the channel. Didn't quite see that, just missed out on that, unfortunately. I did say if price was to come back up again and actually test it this time, the trade is still a valid idea. If price gets there and reacts well, that's still a nice place to be looking to short. And of course, back to lows and maybe new lows as well. And likewise, that will still be a good place for a long. As I always say, a descending channel, I treat the same as a normal kind of horizontal range, looking to sell at the highs, buy at the lows, or again, wait for breakouts if that's what you're looking for. So as price operates in the middle, that's not really an area which I want to get involved in, but the highs and lows is really where I want to position myself. So yeah, for now, we've seen some really nice reactions. If price can get there again, I still think it's a healthy place for a short. And likewise, the lows at the moment were kind of in the middle, not really doing much. So until price gets to one of those areas, I would stay away. And in terms of gold, a lot of momentum, I have to say. Things are looking really, really bullish right now. Of course, clearing the highs there at 3,500, like they weren't there. We did talk about this area as a smart place for a buy. I still think that is a smart place for a buy. Nice area of demand, brief pause, really strong reaction to the upside. And I do think we can see more of the same. I would suggest, I would still wait to see price can get there. Nice bearish candle, still providing some wicks to the downside, so we can see there is a lack of conviction in that bearish move. It's not like we're closing very strongly bearish. It is a sizable candle, but altogether, this still looks like a corrective move to me. And I'm not expecting gold just to continuously fly. We're going to see some downside, of course. So, if gold can see a bit more downside, maybe take up this wick low, early buyers in the market potentially could take them out before we do continue. And at the same time, testing key area of demand support around this 3,500 area, which of course happens to be a big psychological level as well. But still seeing a healthy trend. No real signs of slowing down. Yes, a bit of downside, but again, you're gonna have downside. You're gonna have pullbacks. So until I see something that shows a lot of selling pressure or structure breaking, then of course I would back away. But for now, this is still very much my take there on gold, just following that momentum. And as for silver, same situation here, really. A lot of momentum there, a little bit more corrective than gold, so perhaps slowing down a little bit quicker. I would probably keep an eye on this supply zone. That's our prior low, which gave us the high. I think this could set up very well like an hourly chart. I think that could be a nice place for a buy. And of course, targets back at highs and probably trading stops beyond that as well. I was talking about these areas for some buys this week. I still like them. I'm not too sure if price will get here. If it does get there, it's a pretty big pullback. So I probably won't be as interested with this area anymore because that's too much of a pullback, if anything. these areas kind of show that momentum is still intact and momentum is still with the buyers. A pullback that deep kind of shows selling pressure has really entered the market. But either around 40.36 and 40 itself on the dot, I think are sensible areas for some buys and targets back to where it came from and possibly beyond that as well. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with USD at the moment. So USD is still very flat. Not a lot to take away from the current price action, and by USD I'm talking primarily about the DXY. Very, very flat right now. In terms of gold and silver, still showing strong signs of momentum. Sure, we've had some retracement, but nothing alarming, nothing that has broken structure. So I would still stay bullish, still stay looking for buying opportunities for now. Anyway, where was I? What is up? Sekanda, hope I'm saying that correctly. US 30, we can take a look, no problem. CS Integrated, what is up? Welcome, welcome. Just buying the range for the DXY like you mentioned. Yeah, I think that's the best play for the DXY right now. Buying the lows or selling the highs. Either which way, you're taking advantage of the range because DXY isn't trending now. So I think the worst thing to do is to trade it like a trending market, which is looking kind of for pullbacks or looking for opportunities that favor the continuation of momentum, because we're just not seeing that right now. The best thing to do is position yourself low in the range or high and just look to try and call the tops and bottoms really. And of course, when we do get the breakout, then we'll get a bit more momentum hopefully and a bit more direction in terms of, okay, where is the dollar now likely to trend to next? We'll find that out hopefully, and maybe NFP could do the honors on Friday and start getting that ball rolling. Follow the trend. What's up, my man? Hope you're doing good. I'm out of GA. Okay, took my profit 2.06 and wait for the buy. No, again, nice 100 pips. Okay, nice. Okay, I thought you were looking to for a bigger move, but profit is profit at the end of the day. 100 pips still decent going. I mean, 100 pips is a good move. But yeah, congrats on that GA position. Bengal, what's up? Welcome to the stream. Hope you're doing good. Rachel, what is up? No problem, no problem. Yusuf, good morning. Hope you're doing good. Welcome, welcome. I'm doing well. Thank you for asking. Raphael, oil should I long or short? Short now at the 1 hour. Yes, we can take a look at that. Trev, what's up? Should I buy hold right now? Oh, buy gold. Okay. I was about to say buy hold. What is that? Buy gold right now. Like I said, I'll probably wait for a bit more retracement on gold. What's up, Jeremy? Welcome to the stream. Hope you're good. Yeah, I'd wait for a little bit more retracement for gold. The area where I would put my efforts would be around here, 35.08 to be exact. So anywhere within this consolidation, because that's where this demand zone has basically has been printed, and of course this is where the momentum came from as well. So naturally, I want to see price come back and retest that zone, provide some wicks, strong candle closures, and from there I'll be happy to take some buys, because yeah, gold is flying to the upside, is steaming to the upside. There's a lot of momentum. Yes, we've seen some downside, but to me that just looks like a pullback for now. So yeah, if I can see some healthy rejection here, I think that's a smart place to long from, and that can probably get us back to highs, and then we'll see how far we can go from then onwards. We're not too far away from 3,600 now. We almost got there with this move. Got to about 35.80 almost, 35.79. So 3,600 looks likely in the next coming days. So yeah, anywhere around there, I like the buys. Anyway, guys, we'll go quickly through our perps platform. As I mentioned, we are running a trading competition, which again is just a bit of fun. You can partake if you are looking to kind of test out the platform. You can trade cryptocurrency here, FX, other markets, indices, stocks are coming in the future. But if you've never traded perps before, very similar to trading CFDs. You're again speculating on price, buying with the expectation of price going higher, and selling with the expectation of price going lower. It's the same kind of approach. The mechanics of it are slightly different, but everything with the platform is decentralized. So in terms of restrictions, you don't really have to worry about that. Requesting for withdrawals, pretty much instant. You don't have to request. It's pretty much you just taking your profit whenever you please. Any Solana or Ethereum wallet, you can connect directly to the platform and start trading straight away. There is a demo environment as well, so you can test the platform without any risk. And of course, even if you don't have a wallet, you can use your email as well to get started with the platform as well. So it's up to you how you want to connect, but I would recommend if you do have a Solana or Ethereum wallet to connect it to the platform. But I'll drop the link to the Google form. So if you are interested in the trading challenge, there will be rewards for the best performing traders over that challenge. It'll be over the course of a month, trading cryptocurrencies, any pairs you like. And again, nothing serious, just a bit of fun. So if you do want to partake and check it out, I do recommend to check out that form and drop your email there as well. If you do want a full breakdown of how the platform works and what to expect from purpose trading, I do have a video on my channel that kind of summarizes that as a whole and shows you how to use it, as well as the AI feature as well, which is something I'm really interested and excited about because I do think it will play a big role in trading in the next years to come. So definitely something to get up to speed with. But anyway, guys, let's go through some pairs you have requested. We shall take a look. What happened there? We shall take a look at, was it US 30 requested first? Yeah, US 30. We'll take a look at the Dow Jones. We'll go through oil as well. Aussie CAD, Raphael, no problem. Dollar yen, Jeremy, yep, we can take a look. Yusuf, still in UJ shorts. Okay, nice. Please, thoughts on that? No problem. Yep, we can take a look at UJ as well. Henrique, good morning. Hope you're doing good. New Zealand CAD, yes, we can take a look. Just a few pairs to go through initially, then we can take a look at that pair as well. But as for US 30, interesting. We're still just above support, and we are firing some nice wicks into this level. So I quite like the look of what I'm seeing with US 30. A lot of rejection here, a lot of rejection there, rejection, and of course, ever since we had this commanding breakout, you can see now price is coming back to retest the support. So as long as price can stay above this level, I remain bullish on US 30 and looking for continuation back to highs. And beyond that, how far can we go? This is our all-time highs. We could continue to trend for quite some time. So I like the buys here, but it is crucial that we do stay above support. If I do see at any stage us close back below this, then this becomes a fake out really. This becomes resistance again, and we could very much sell off. So that will really change my bias if price was to do that. Of course, that's not the case at the moment. Still finding support. So I still like what I'm seeing. We've got a nice area of demand, so to speak, which price is coming back to retest. So I like the buys from here. At the moment, it looks like price is kind of consolidating. So in terms of an entry, you could either wait for price to spike down again and look to take some buys off the low, or wait for price to break out the range, maybe with a nice close outside of that, and look to enter your buys there with the anticipation that momentum is picked up and we're likely to push back to highs. Either which way, of course, this will find you a better entry, but taking some entries in here, you do have to watch for resistance because, of course, price could come straight back down again. So be prepared for that. And likewise, if you do take the entry here, you're entering a little bit later, so maybe your risk reward won't be as good, but you can be a bit more assured that momentum is in your favor, and we are likely to continue beyond that. So it's up to you how you want to tackle that and trade it. But the key thing is, again, price staying above this kind of 45k area, and with that, I'm expecting rally back to highs and maybe new highs as well. So US 30 for now, still bullish bias, still respecting key areas of support and demand. And as long as we can keep that up, I do think we can rally. In terms of oil, so do you buy or sell on the hourly chart? Let's go to take a look at oil. There we go. Okay, so yesterday's close was quite significant. Price came right back underneath this area. I was looking to see if this breakout could sustain and price can come back and retest and continue, but that wasn't the case. Looks like we are bleeding and coming back below that area. And especially if I look at the weekly chart, we still got the rest of today and again tomorrow as well. A lot can change, especially off the back of NFP. But I'm looking at the weekly chart. It looks like price has basically just provided a bit of a fake out on the lower time frames. Of course, the wick here represents the break we saw on the daily, but that hasn't been sustained and prices pull back. And of course, at the moment, it's looking pretty bearish, but like I said, we still got the rest of today and tomorrow before that closes, so you can't really take that to heart right now because that could change. But for now, it looks like we've kind of faked to the upside. And if that is the case, then this looks like a simple break and retest to me. You've got price support on your left, now turn resistance on your right there, and now potentially that could give us a continuation lower. So I would be leaning towards a bearish bias now, especially if the way we broke through this counter trend line. Price was really nice and steady, creating higher highs and higher lows. We've just gone and broken through that as well. So not only is the weekly showing us resistance with those wicks, but we are breaking through this counter trend line as well. So things are looking bearish on numerous time frames, and this move here just basically looks like a pullback now, and perhaps that's going to be our next lower high in this sequence. So going forward with crude oil, looking for a pullback and then a short would be a nice opportunity. You could even short on the break of the counter trend line, really. Of course, you might have a pretty big stop loss if that's the case. Maybe a stop loss above the high, so risk reward wouldn't be great. But if you get somewhat of a pullback like this, retesting structure, that could be a nice trade, even on the hourly chart as well. I wouldn't short it now on the hourly because we've already had a very extended move. Price is just taking out some structure to your left there. So I think it's a little bit late to the party to be shorting now. But let's say if we do see a healthy enough pullback, then yeah, of course, shorts do make sense. Nice kind of area of supply here, around 64, 64.5. A pullback into that area, maybe some double tops. That could be a nice opportunity for a short back into lows, and maybe even a push back into the swing low there as well. But yeah, I have to say I'm leaning towards a bearish bias after seeing the daily closure, after seeing what the wicks are doing on the weekly chart. Like I said, not going to take that as gospel just yet because the weekly candle's still yet to close. But as things are setting up, it does look like we probably will get a bearish move. So shorts, I like the idea, but you need some pullbacks 100% before getting involved. Okay, so next we'll take a look at Aussie CAD. Yeah, Aussie CAD for Raphael. We can take a look. Then we'll go through dollar yen as well. We can take a look at use of shorts, and then we can take a look at New Zealand CAD as well for Henrique. But Aussie CAD, not a pair which I have been keeping too much tabs upon because, again, it's been very, very choppy. But we are back at resistance at the moment, so there could be some nice selling opportunities from this level. To be honest, you can see a really nice reaction initially. Another one over there, another one over there, so on and so forth. And we're back there again. So if you're looking to short Aussie CAD, this would be the time and place to do that. I would keep a note of the higher lows prices be making. So it's kind of, it's not like a textbook range where we're seeing equal highs and equal lows. It's price kind of forming some type of wedge here where we're kind of gradually getting higher with these higher lows, which could mean a break to the upside. It could, of course, mean a break to the downside. But if it does break higher, it could start a really nice uptrend potentially. So with the shorts, you're probably going to be anticipating another higher low to form. So you probably wouldn't want to target outright support here or some of these levels because price is probably likely to form another higher low to push back up. So be prepared to take your profit early or just keep an eye on that situation there. As for the location, as for what we're seeing, yeah, shorts make sense. I like the close there. Strong shift in momentum, strong close with that bearish engulfing candle. You can probably take some entries off the back of that. Of course, that did close about 2 candles ago, but price hasn't moved too far, so you can still find an entry relative to that area. Then you can get some stops above the high there, give yourself a bit of wiggle room, and you've got a decent risk reward at least back to support here. Probably a 1 to 1.5, maybe a 1 to 2. So that is not bad trade in itself. And you've got the trend line resting slightly below. And maybe if things go very well, maybe you see a break of that and we start ticking off these lows here. But at the very least, I think you can get a push to that area. And it would make sense as well. So yeah, Aussie CAD, I don't mind shorts. You're basically just finding price back at significant resistance and looking for a short off the back of that. That's all you're looking to do. Nothing more complex than that. Prices simply come back to major resistance, rejecting well. We could see a reaction off the back of that. So yeah, going forward with Aussie CAD, that is very much the plan. Until we get the breakout, then perhaps we can speak about something like this going forward, or this if we're going to head lower. But for now, it's just basically shorting the highs and buying the dips with Aussie CAD. In terms of dollar yen's been interesting. It has the potential to go a lot lower. We have been respecting some resistance in this area, and possibly we could see something like that happen. But for now, we are kind of struggling at the highs. As I drop to the lower time frames, all I'm seeing for dollar yen is consolidation. So you got equal lows down there, you got equal highs roughly around here as well. And to me, it looks like price is just fluctuating between the two levels. Yusuf, you did say you got short on this one. I'm assuming roughly around here somewhere, because I think that's where we were trading yesterday on stream, and I remember that's where you said you were short. So yeah, still looking good. Again, with a range, you have to be a little bit, you have to give yourself some room, because range, you don't necessarily all the time see price bounce at the low and just dart straight to the high. Of course, here's a nice example of that. But that's not going to happen every time. Price is going to dance around. It's going to stagnate. It could consolidate within the range and then potentially make the move eventually. And sometimes it might come back to your entry as well. For example, if you can see if you bought the low here, price made a nice move, but then it did come back against you. But of course, eventually it did make its move. Likewise over here as well. Nice buy. It did go about 60-70% of the way there. Came back against you, retested support, then made its move. So it depends what you're looking for. If you're trying to sit and hold, if you got an entry here with a stop loss there, you can say, because of your entry being in a healthy location, your stop loss being in a healthy place, you can just stomach the trade. As long as price stays below this, the trade is still valid and you're expecting price to eventually make a move lower. Or you could say, I'm going to try to actively buy or actively sell the position and manage it if it does go against me. So for example, let's say if you enter here with a stop loss over there, you already caught a nice move. So at this point, you can probably move stops to break even. And if price does come back to take you at break even, you can just look to re-enter if things still look good, of course. And then get back in the trade. If price comes back against you, probably get stopped out break even again. This way, you're kind of actively selling the position and looking for price to eventually give you that move where it really does push away. And if price does eventually come back against you and break to the upside, well, you don't take a loss because you probably would have been stopped out at break even. So that way you're kind of protecting your risk a little bit, but still trying to give yourself the best possible situation of actually taking advantage of the move. So it depends how you want to manage it. Again, there is no right and wrong. If you just have a trade here and a stop loss above the high and just say, okay, as long as price stays below resistance, I'll be in the trade. It gives you kind of minimal work to do. And as long as price is good below that level, the trade is still valid. Of course, if you do the situation where you do trail stops and exit trades early because momentum's going against you, you do walk away with smaller wins. You probably take more positions. There is a possibility you might miss the bigger move as well. But that way, you can kind of manage your risk and your downside a lot more. So I still do expect something like this to happen. Yusuf, I would still be bearish as we are still rejecting the high. Of course, if price does suddenly break to the upside, then that will invalidate that bias and I will look to change my mind and probably start talking about push to the highs here. And if you do see that breakout and price comes back to retest structure, that could present some nice buying opportunities for us to go a lot higher as well. So yeah, in terms of management, there's a couple of ways to look at it. It depends which way you feel most comfortable and which way you're happy to manage. Like I said, there's no necessarily right or wrong. It's just how you want to manage it. With me, I would look for entries, and as price comes back to back against me, I will move my stops to break even and look for the re-entry because it helps managing the downside. The approach where you kind of just set and forget is not a bad idea. It's less work to do, but I like kind of removing that risk. So if I do catch a nice move in my favor initially, I want to pay myself for that or at least limit my risk off that. So if price does come back to that level, I'd rather just look to re-enter rather than stay in my original trade. and that's just my preference. But yeah, dollar yen for now, still within the range. So yeah, I still do have this as my bias. And again, anyone who's looking to trade dollar yen, yeah, let's say if we do make a push back to resistance, keep an eye. There could be some nice selling opportunities to get in if we do see price make a move back to resistance. And of course, likewise with buys at the lows here as well. So yeah, hopefully that makes sense with dollar yen. Next, we can take a look at New Zealand CAD for Henrique. Follow the trend. Funny enough, I was looking at a push back to 2.1 GA, but I have actually switched my bias. I switched bearish on pound on fundamental view. Okay, interesting. I mean, I'm actually leaning to a bearish bias as well on pound Aussie too. It does need to clear support, basically the support in which you are buying from. It does need to break through that for me to actually turn bearish. But yeah, I do think price is actually likely longer term to head lower. I'm looking at the higher time frames as to where price is trading. The highs you've taken out, significant highs, especially the COVID highs back over here. I do think this uptrend is a little bit overextended now. We're looking really, really corrective as well. I do think we're likely to go for a bit of a sell. So pound Aussie, I do have a bearish bias. Again, not necessarily that the trend has to completely reverse. It might just be a bigger pullback before we continue higher. I do think we can come back and test some structure in these areas, and then we'll go from there. I'm not convinced about the trend continuing after all that rejection at highs. So yeah, I do have a bearish bias as well with pound Aussie. But the key thing with pound Aussie is that we're still bouncing at support. So I can't be looking for any selling opportunities until either price makes another move back to resistance. So we see some healthy rejections at highs and I can place some shorts there. Or of course, price makes a move below support and then opens up the door for a retest, again for continuation. And I'll mark that on just as a reference point, just around 1.99. And then yeah, looking for pullbacks beyond that. So I do agree with the bias, but yeah, at the moment still respecting support. There still could be some more buying opportunities, but we have to wait and see. Morning Tashi, welcome to the stream. Hope you're well. Are you going to drop trades? If there are any trades to take, I'll let you guys know. I'm currently in Aussie yen at the moment. That's the only position I'm in. There's nothing else kind of set up for me this week. It's been very, very flat on the yen, on the USD. I did take a trade on New Zealand CAD, but I quickly got out of that position for a small loss. Didn't really continue my favor well. There hasn't been anything else that has tickled my fancy really. And again, that's the reality of trading, especially swing trading as well. Some weeks you might find 3 or 4 positions. Some weeks there'll be no positions. So you have to kind of manage that. And at the moment, I haven't really found anything besides New Zealand CAD and of course the trade I'm currently managing in Aussie yen. But I took this about a couple of weeks ago now. Yeah, going back to 21st of August. So yeah, I'm only in Aussie yen at the moment. Nothing else has really shaped up well. I've managed to trail my stops even further with this one. We have seen price come back to reject the highs. If it does see a considerable move against me, I'll just close the position because there's no need to stay in this. You know, price has already had a continuation, so already pushed back to significant resistance. If that is the case, and price does want to have a move down, I'd rather take my profits and look for re-entries. And if momentum does want to continue, great, I'll stay in the trade and see how far we can take it. But yeah, that is the only position I'm in at the moment. We can go take a look at New Zealand CAD next as well. What's up, Dmar? Welcome to the stream. Hope you're doing good. Aussie CAD versus New Zealand CAD, which one is better for sure at the 4-hour time frame? Okay, we can have a look at that. Pavinator, my man, what's up? Happy Thursday. Hope you're well. This week's been interesting. Aussie dollar's coming back down. Was hoping for a sell entry 0.66226. Possibly we might see that. Possibly. Yeah. I mean, I'm not too sure for USD at the moment, so I think in terms of Aussie dollar, I'm just looking to play the highs and play the lows really. And 0.662, I think, is a great place to short. It's basically the high, the most recent swing high, so it makes sense. But we have to wait for USD to make its move before I do have a bias, like clear out bias for Aussie dollar. What's up, Bashi? Welcome to the stream. Hope you're well. Yeah, you got the spanner. I remembered. would have done it earlier, but I just kept forgetting, to be honest. I've been very busy, so it just goes out my head. But I did remember. But I hope you're doing good. Appreciate it. Yeah, guys, if you are enjoying the stream, please be sure to drop a like, subscribe to the channel. It does really help out. Share it with your friends, of course, and hit the bell so you don't miss out on any streams or uploads. Forget the word uploads in the future. And of course, any chats, any queries, any charts you want me to take a look at, drop it in the chat and we shall investigate. But yeah, New Zealand CAD, let me get to that before I forget. So New Zealand CAD, yeah, I've been quite bearish on New Zealand CAD, but we have become a bit flat now. So I'm not losing the bias, but I'm just being a little bit more careful because it is a slow trend. We are consolidating. You know, price is 50-50 at this moment in time. We could break up, we could break down. I still do have this area which I like the shorts from. Really nice area of supply, strong drop to the downside. If price does pull back into this area, I do think we can see a lot of downside. Again, as long as price doesn't break through this high, I still retain that bearish bias. I'm looking at this trend here, and I'm looking at that continuing. If price does decide to break structure, that would be a strong sign to say that, okay, this trend probably isn't going to continue anymore, so let me be a bit more careful and probably become a bit more neutral. But I'm looking for a push into this low and then potentially push into this low for New Zealand CAD. So I'm really bearish on the pair. In terms of shorting, I'd probably say Aussie CAD is the better short because it's at a more significant resistance. If I go to Aussie CAD over here, you can see we're at very significant resistance. Price respect to this on numerous occasions. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it's a very significant level. Therefore, the shorts are more prominent. You're shorting for a more significant area. New Zealand CAD shorting now. Yes, you're at key resistance as well, but you're more within a range, and this level isn't as significant as the same level we just mentioned on Aussie CAD. So if you're looking to short between the two, I would say Aussie CAD, based on the level we're trading, is the better short. Again, they're very similar markets anyway, so if Aussie CAD does make a move down, New Zealand CAD will probably follow suit and vice versa, but you're probably safer with the Aussie CAD trade rather than New Zealand CAD at the moment. I quite like the shorts now for New Zealand CAD at this area. If I drop to the 4 hour, I can see in a bit more detail. Nice area of supply. Of course, spat out a lot of momentum there. If price can pull back to retest that, I think that'll be a great place for a short. And an area which we can see a lower high from. Maybe some type of trend line confluence there. You know, price may start forming some type of channel. If you could see price make a move to this zone, I think that'd be a great place to find an entry. Stop loss above and hopefully a continuation lower. There is a world where we do kind of consolidate and just break to the downside off the back of that, possibly. But because we've been ranging now, equal highs, equal lows, if you are going to short from the range high over here, you have to be prepared to potentially close that trade or at least keep an eye on it as we do approach support, because this has acted very, very well as support in the past now. So you've got a range there to trade within. It makes sense for the range as well. I would suggest Aussie CAD is the more significant short, but I like this opportunity for a pullback to see the next major lower high. There's some strong confluence there. I think we could be in for a really nice swing to the downside. So it's up to you how you want to investigate that. You can trade within the range here, buy low, sell high. I am bearish on New Zealand CAD, so I do see us breaking lower in the long term. But it's either you catch some shorts from the high here, or maybe wait for that supply zone to be hit. Either which way, I'm looking to sell New Zealand CAD as long as this high isn't taken out. So that is my plan for now. And in terms of Aussie dollar, we can take a look at for Pavinator. So yeah, you mentioned 0.662, which would be the high here. So yeah, I do agree. That does look like a nice place for a short. Will price get there? We do not know. Maybe, maybe not. Coming into the week, I kept an eye on both of these levels, resistance here and resistance there, just because this was a pretty significant level as well. So I quite like both of them. But the way I see Aussie dollars, that we're quite flat. We're not really trending up. We're not really trending down. So the way I'm looking to tackle this market is just, you know, sell from or buy from significant areas and keep it short and sweet. Not really looking for big swings, big moves, because it's going to be difficult to catch them in these conditions. You know, bigger moves are easier to catch when things are trending, like for example gold. It's a lot easier to find a bigger move in gold right now with that trending behavior rather than in these choppy conditions where price can see a move halfway through the range, suddenly find support and come back up against you. So it's going to be a bit more difficult in these conditions. Not impossible, but more difficult. So Aussie dollar, the way I see it, yeah, again, the focus is still very much at these areas. As price comes lower, I wouldn't do anything really, not coming to an area of significance. As we come lower, we come closer to the middle of the range as well, which is where a lot of the noise and the chaos will be. So unless we revisit highs or break even higher, then these areas will come back into play again, and same with the lows there. But yeah, it has been an interesting week. In terms of direction, hasn't been much progress there. I'm looking at the dollar. That is still very, very flat, not really providing me much direction in terms of what dollar wants to do next. Sure, if we do break to the upside here, things become clear. Likewise with the lows. I'm hoping NFP tomorrow can do that for us. Or even earlier, that'll be better. But I'm hoping at least NFP will do that. And then we can go from there. But at the moment, dollar's still flat. And we're kind of seeing that mirrored on Aussie dollar's price action as well. Okay, so where are we? But then starting going down from 655. Yeah. Hey, what's up, Raymond? Welcome to the stream. Hope you are well. No problem, Yusuf. Happy to help. Salman, what's up? Hope you're doing good. I'm good. Thank you for asking. I'm looking for possible CAD sells around 107.645. Okay, interesting. Up to 106.759. Kind of resistance broke back below. Impulsive, your thoughts? Okay, yeah, we can take a look at CAD next for you. No problem. Happy to help. Follow the trend. FX Bashi. Okay, cheers. Thank you. Oh, you can share links now. I didn't know mods could do that. Yeah, appreciate it. Yeah, Discord, Telegram, appreciate it. Thank you. Savvy, what do you think about buys in Euro Aussie? I will take a look, no problem. Manzondi, what is up? Welcome to the stream. Hope you're doing good. Raymond, yes, we can take a look at Euro Aussie. Do you think it will come back up again from the daily support where it is now? Okay, so I'll go through CAD Yen. And then I'll take a look at Euro Aussie for you. If I have missed out a pair, again, just let me know. I don't think I have. Anyway, so I completely forgot the pair. CAD Yen, that's it. So CAD Yen, you're looking for some selling opportunities. Now, I'm not the biggest fan of CAD Yen. I mean, I did like the momentum earlier this week, but the fact that we've kind of fallen flat on our face again just makes things quite indecisive. But you're looking to sell around 107.645. 107. Okay, that's around there. And your target's 106.759. Literally over there. Okay, so I can see the logic here. A bit more of an intraday position, I'm assuming. Price pulling back to a nice area of supply, looking for a retest of that area, then a continuation. I can see the logic there. I mean, again, it's not bad in terms of location. Price has basically come back to resistance here, more or less, and respected it pretty well. Aggressive reaction there. Yeah, I think I like the idea. And targets, not too optimistic either. I mean, this area could just be seen as a big range, really. More or less equal highs, equal lows. Essentially selling at the highs here and buying at the lows there makes sense. Targets, makes sense as well. I would, of course, suggest maybe keep an eye at this low. Let's say if you do see a pullback into this area, catch a short into the low there. I think naturally that should be an area to keep an eye on, just in case price doesn't, continue momentum here and see a rally against you. I think it could be a smart area to maybe secure partials or just keep an eye on things. If price does start reacting there, maybe you can partial out. Or if price shows momentum and starts breaking through well, then stay in the trade. And maybe your targets are very much on. But in terms of the location, I like it. Strong area of supply. nice push down. I think in general, in terms of the area where you're shorting from, it does make sense. Back at major resistance, and of course we're seeing price fail at the highs pretty well too. So yeah, I don't mind it. I would say keep an eye on how we pull back. If we kind of break to the upside quite aggressively, that could be a bit of a red flag, because at the moment we've had a strong push down and now price is just consolidating. So if we could pull back a little bit more corrective, that would be nice, just to really insinuate that this is a pullback, not a reversal. So I would keep an eye on how we pull back, but in terms of the location of the entry, especially for an intraday idea, I think it makes sense. And yeah, a push back to the lows there. Not looking for too much in the market. I think a pretty reasonable target as well. So yeah, I don't mind that position at all. Salmon, I think it does make sense, especially for what you're looking for. What time frame are you looking to try and enter that trade? Kind of manipulate the resistance on the left and broke back below it impulsively. Your thoughts? Yeah, I can see that as well. So yeah, I don't mind the shorts there. I would suggest keep an eye on how we pull back. You don't want too much strength in that, because price is coming back to retest some area of demand right now, and we could see a continuation from that. So if we can stay nice and slow, nice and corrective, that will lead us to believe that this is a pullback for us to continue lower, rather than an impulsive move, which means that, okay, we are really finding support at this area and perhaps looking for a continuation. So I'll be watchful of that. Anyway, let's go through Euro Aussie next. Okay, yeah, we'll take a look at Euro Aussie. Go up and back to the support where it is now. Okay, we'll take a look. Bashi, what links do you want to send in the chat? I think those links are fine for now. Again, there's plenty of links in the description, but those are kind of more like more minor things if people want a bit more information or follow me in other socials. But Discord, Telegram, those are the main links really. But yeah, I appreciate that, Bashi. Jeremy, I would be really nice if you take live trades. I don't really take many trades during this window, which is the reason why I do go live now. Most of my trades are probably between 6 and probably like 9 a.m. or maybe in the afternoon between like 12 and like 4 or 5. The reason why I stream now is because I don't have to concentrate so much on finding entries, although there are some times that I do take entries live, because there are some times that trades do fall outside that window. But yeah, if there is a live position to take, I will take it. But again, there's nothing really extravagant about taking a position live, because I trade in the 4-hour chart. So if I take the trade, it's not like much is going to change over the course of the stream. I take a trade in the 4-hour chart. The stream is 2 hours long, so you can imagine there's not a lot of change in price. Even sometimes I take a trade the day before I come into stream and barely prices change as well. So there's not a lot of excitement. If I was on like a 5-minute chart, then there'll be a bit more excitement there, because you'll be able to see trades progress along the way. But there's only 6 4-hour candles in one day, and the stream is 2 hours long, so there won't be a great change in price or a great change to speak about. But yeah, if I do get a position live, I will take it. But yeah, most of my positions are probably earlier in London or in the first kind of half of New York. And that's just where I normally get most of my entries. Anyway, let's go through Euro Aussie. So Euro AUD, this one has been interesting so far, pretty bearish. The way I see it, this looks like a really aggressive V-shaped pattern or inverse V-shaped pattern, impulse up, impulse down. I do think price could probably see another continuation lower back to these lows here. It looks like a head and shoulder pattern to me. Left head, right shoulder. Very significant resistance over here. I could see us falling back to lows from there. And of course, this would be your neckline of the pattern. So I am pretty bearish on Euro Aussie. I do think price can go a lot lower. I'm looking more so at 1.76799. In terms of an opportunity to trade it, this is where it gets a little bit difficult, because this to me just looks like a lot of noise. I know I pointed out that head and shoulder pattern, but the market is very, very flat. I think the best places to buy and sell this are at the lows here or at the highs, over there. That way you're well positioned. You're putting your stop loss in safe areas, and you can kind of take advantage of the swing, to a good extent, rather than trying to get in areas around here where things will be naturally a bit more choppier, easier to get wigged out. Probably won't be looking for as big of a move. And primarily just because of where you're located. So yeah, with Euro Aussie, it's a very flat market, at least of now. Of course, it has been trending if you look at the bigger picture, but we are starting to lose that momentum, especially with this rally as we came flat in our face. Price could have easily continued the rally and head back to highs, but we didn't. We failed at the highs there quite aggressively and came straight back down, and this could somewhat create a bit of a range. I think it already is doing that, to be honest, and this could lead to a reversal. It could eventually lead to a continuation, but we are becoming a lot more flat right now with Euro Aussie. So Raymond, your question was, do you think it can go back up again from daily support where it is now? So from this area, maybe. I wouldn't bank on it though. Like I said, this move was really aggressive. Yeah, I think it's a smart place for a buy because of course we have rejected it well. But as we approach resistance here, I'll be very watchful of that trade. I can see a world where we do bounce from this area just to come straight back down again. Of course, anything could happen. I don't want to speak from absolutes and certainties because that isn't the case. Price could very much break through that level and continue pushing through, but I don't think this is the best place to buy. I would argue this is a much better place to buy from. Yes, we could see a bounce, but I wouldn't bank on a continuation back to highs. I think if you can catch a move here, that would be a great trade. You can look to manage the trade there in terms of maybe partialing out or maybe trading some stops. If you do see some signs of price breaking through, then yeah, maybe we do see a push back to highs, but I wouldn't necessarily bet on that happening. So yeah, it's reacting to some nice daily support. I think buys from here look good, but from a short-term perspective, if you're looking for a bit more of a swing trade, I think here's where you'll find a much bigger move. And again, which possibly could come back to highs as well. So yeah, Euro Aussie, for me, the better opportunities are around the highs and at the lows. Sure, you might find some short-term moves here, but I would keep it short-term. So yeah, that's kind of my take on Euro Aussie. Salmon 1 hour. Okay, yeah, 1 hour makes sense. 1 hour makes sense. Looking at the corrected behavior, only then I will take the sell. Nice, yeah, makes sense. Makes sense. Yeah, I wouldn't do it any other way because although we are seeing a strong reaction at resistance for CAD Yen, equally we are coming back to some bullish areas where we did see quite a lot of bullish momentum from. Price did kind of rally quite aggressively from this area. There is a world where price pushes into here and perhaps continues. And especially if the yen does maintain some of its weakness, that could be the case. We did see a nice break of this counter trend line. That did trigger the selling pressure, although we haven't really showed signs of continuation. We're kind of stuck. Not even quite at that support level, but we are losing that momentum. So yeah, I wouldn't get too carried away with the shorts there on CAD Yen. Yes, nice area, but I would keep an eye on that corrected behavior as you mentioned there. And then yeah, a push to your targets, not looking for anything that doesn't really make sense anyway. But yeah, yen pairs in general are quite interesting. Looking at the yen basket, we are still very flat. So I'm not really seeing much of an opportunity, to be honest, with the yen basket right now. The way I see it, price looks really, really flat to me. And yeah, difficult to really find opportunities in terms of momentum anyway. We've been fluctuating between support and resistance. If this trend is going to continue, then I can see a world where we do push back to lows here. And we do see a nice continuation. But in all honesty, I'm not too sure which way price is going to move. I mean, I have been long in Aussie yen. I'm happy to kind of tread out that position now because we've seen a nice move with Aussie yen and we haven't really seen the conviction lower. So I can see a world where where the yen basket does bounce at support and makes a move back up again. And if that's the case, I don't want to be still holding my Aussie yen trade because that means a lot of yen strength will come into the market. So I'd rather just take my profit and move on to the next position, really. If yen is going to drop and continue lower, great. I'll stay in the trade and trail stops for as long as possible. But I'm not too sure if I'm quite convinced of that just yet. So yeah, if that's the case, I will just kind of exit and move on to the next position. But the yen for now is still quite choppy here. No kind of clear direction for me. Savvy thoughts on euro pound? Sure thing, we can take a look at that as well. Euro GBP. Euro GBP has been quite flat. The way I see it, it looks like a range to me. More or less equal highs, equal lows. No consistency in terms of direction. We are trading at some daily resistance as well. I think keeping tabs on that is equally important. I like the support level price is created just below us here. We've tested it numerous times, and I feel like if price can break through that, we could be looking at a really nice bearish move. Almost kind of how bullish price was on the way up. I can see a situation where we're kind of bearish in a similar manner on the way back down into lows. Euro pound is a very kind of up and down pair. It doesn't trend too well, or at least it hasn't done for a while. Zooming all the way back to August 2016, so a good 9 years pretty much. Price has just been flat, and now we've approached resistance. We've seen a big move up. There's a good chance we could copy and paste that move on the way back down again. So I quite like the idea if euro pound does break support here around 0.86, sorry, and looking for pullbacks of that, I think could provide some really nice opportunities to short. So that's really what I'm waiting for in euro pound personally. Something like this, and then the retest of that same area or something in that general vicinity. Naturally, there could still be some buying positions before that. So let's say price was to move back into support. There's still likely to be a bounce at this area. Again, I'll keep it short term because all you're doing is trading within this range. So yes, there could be some nice buys to keep an eye on. The way I see it, this might just be another lower high for euro pound in respect to these previous highs. 1, 2, I could see this being another lower high. Price coming back to some areas of supply in our left there. Test it very well. I can see price potentially selling off. The only way I would turn bullish again for euro pound is if I do see a significant break to the upside with some real momentum to show that, okay, this uptrend is still in play. This was just a big kind of consolidation phase of price kind of building up, then eventually continuing. Then, of course, I will still be bullish, looking for pullbacks and so on and so forth. So that's the only way I would have a bullish bias for euro pound in terms of trending and direction. But for now, I do like the shorts here, and that's really what I'm waiting for. But we're probably still 2 weeks away at least, probably from that setup really shaping up. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with euro pound. Very flat market right now. I wouldn't try and look to investigate opportunities kind of within this area here. That's where all the noise is, where a lot of fluctuation is. Difficult to find quality opportunities there. Easier to get stopped out as well. So I would ignore those areas, focus more so on the pivotal key areas where price is making the majority of its big moves from. Amos, what's up? Yes, we can take a look at pound Aussie. No problem. Good morning. Welcome to the stream. So yeah, as I mentioned with pound Aussie, we are trading at some significant supports. There could be some nice buying opportunities here. I like this initial move. I try not to get involved in the first move though. So for me, I'm kind of biding my time, waiting for price to come back and maybe develop at the support level a little bit more. Sort of like my entry back over here. I did take advantage of this swing back to the highs. Again, it's literally the same trade really. Price is back down at support again. If price does reject this well, we could very much make a move back to resistance. And again, with ranges, you keep things simple, buying low, selling high, no more complex than that. So yeah, we could be looking at a repeat, price coming back to support, rejecting it well, and making a move back to resistance. So there is definitely a swing trade set up here, which could possibly form. But I really want to be the first one into the trade. When I entered here, price already had a few tests of this area before I eventually got my entry. And that's kind of how I want it to shape up here as well. It doesn't have to be specifically as long as I waited before entering. It could be a lot quicker. But I very rarely want to get the first test because that's where you're more prone to getting faked out and just more prone to getting shaken out of the market. I like being second, third into the market. Let the people rush into the trade first and then I come in when the move is actually about to happen. That's kind of my thought process with it. Same thing for pound Aussie here as well. So if you come back into support, maybe double bottom here, maybe consolidate, maybe show some nice momentum, maybe wick through the zone as well. That'd be a very nice confluence. Stop out some early traders, recover the zone, then see some buys. Something like that is what I want to be looking for pound Aussie, just to really put the probability in my favor and show some really healthy rejections. Momentum is looking good. It looks like we're picking up, but at the same time, we do kind of have this bearish trend which has been at play. There's a lot of momentum there, so as we do push up, there are some areas of supply which we're coming to, which perhaps price might want to roll back over again. I'm kind of hoping we do. So again, to build up support here, maybe show a wick through the zone, nice double bottom, and then see some momentum. Something like that is what I like for an entry. So in terms of location, really nice place to be looking for buys. Still waiting for a bit more development just to really increase the quality of the opportunity. But yeah, keep an eye for this area for buys, and if things go very well, we could see a swing all the way back up to 2.09 and just a continuation of the range. If we do break through support, then that's when the bearish buys kicks in, and then we can speak about some pullback opportunities and some shorts beyond that as well. And again, we can speak a bit more about that when we actually do see the breakup. But for now, still testing support and still could see some upside. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with pound Aussie on the 4 hour. Good morning. What do you think of Euro Yen? Okay, we can take a look. Looking to go short around 173, 125. Okay, we can take a look at Euro Yen. Oil, yes, we can have a look at oil as well. Euro Yen's an interesting one. I'm still pretty bullish on oil, but the price action isn't really obeying that bias very well at the moment. I'm still looking to see if price can come back and test the highs here eventually. That'll still be my long-term bias. Ever since we had the breakout of resistance, ever since price has left, broke through this area and left that area behind, I've been looking for Euro Yen to get back to the high. And we've come about 80% of the way there. And now we're kind of starting to stall and starting to move sideways, form some type of consolidation here. I still think price will eventually get there, but we could still make a move down first back to support before that happens. Just because I have a bullish bias doesn't mean we have to necessarily move right now. Price could sell off first before that happens. We could even have a very big complex pullback before that happens as well. Maybe a retest of this area. So the bullish bias is there because I'm expecting this trend to continue. But again, the caveat to that is it doesn't have to be now, and there could still be some nice selling opportunities beforehand. From a daily perspective, it looks like price has made a move back to resistance, and it's tried to make a move beyond that. It's tried to break out, but of course failed. You can see with these exaggerated wicks to the upside, 1 wick, 2 wicks, price is trying to rally through the zone, but it looks like it's failing. I do think price can make a move back to support now, or potentially even this area here as well. So shorts from this level do make sense. You said you're looking to short from 173.125. 173.125. That's around there. Again, generally that makes sense to me. I mean, from a 4 hour perspective, anywhere kind of within this area would make sense, but I suppose you're looking more at a lower time frame. So let me scale to the hourly chart. To me, it looks like you're looking for price to come back and test that supply zone to short from, which makes sense as well. I probably would be looking at stop losses maybe above the wicks there, just to give myself the best protection for the trade. But essentially all you're looking to do is call the tops of this range. Price has come back to the high here. It's manipulated a little bit. It looks like price has tried to rally through, but essentially has failed. And if that is going to be the case, if we're not going to break through this area, having some stops above the wick high here would be a safe place for it. Because of course, if price is going to hit your stop over there, well, maybe price is actually going to break out. So yeah, in that case, I don't want to be in the sell position anymore. But if you can have stops here, it will give yourself enough room to stomach any fluctuation and hopefully capitalize on a swing back down. And of course, you got very significant support around here, which could make for a healthy target. Where is your target for that Euro Yen idea? How far are you looking to push it? I think 171.3 makes sense. You're just below the range essentially. Maybe 50% of the range roughly. If I use the fib, can calculate that with a bit more accuracy. Oh my god, that is almost 50% bang on. That's a very nice eyeballing from myself. But yeah, that's pretty much 50% there. That could be a nice kind of intermediate target, so you can book some profits here and then leave a little bit more to run. Yeah, that could be up to you how you want to manage it. But yeah, I do like shorts here. High of the range, manipulated. Looks like we're failing. As long as price can stay below that wick high, I do think we can roll over, test support. Test the middle of the range and maybe go and test support at the low of the range. So yeah, just looking to call the shorts at the highs. Okay, in terms of oil, so as I mentioned for oil, it looks like we are leaning towards more of a bearish market at the moment. I'm scaling to the weekly chart and looking at how the current weekly candle is looking. It looks to me that price has just had a really nice break and retest pattern here. So you got price support from previous weeks, take that support across. What's happened? It's turned to resistance. This week's candle was, of course, at one point looking very bullish, trading above the level. However, we have dramatically pulled back. I know we still got today and tomorrow before this weekly candle does close, so things can change, and of course NFP can change things. But it looks to me that price have just essentially tried to break through the level. It's failed, left a big wick, basically faking out people in the lower time frames, and now we're coming back below the zone. So this just looks like price has had a break and retest of that level, and perhaps now could see a continuation. So if we do close like this by Friday, yeah, I think next week we can see some very nice selling pressure kick in, and that could take us back to these lows and maybe eventually the lows down here as well. So I would be very bearish for oil. Also a very nice aggressive daily close as well. A really strong candle breaking to the upside, but all that momentum went in the bin, and we saw this candle close really aggressively back down again. That's looking really bearish to me as well now. And we've also seen a really nice break of this counter trend line. You can see price hugging the trend line as we be continuing higher. Strong break to the downside. Now I would suggest pullbacks into that area and a continuation back into lows. So yeah, oil, I would say shorts look good now. I was actually looking yesterday to see if price can find support here and rally, but that was not the case. We broke through. Now that has made me very bearish on the pair. So pullbacks, I would say, are quite necessary because we're probably overextended a little bit. We've just broken through key structure, probably likely to pull back at some point. So I'd wait for that pullback to come. It would help improve the entry and the risk reward of the position. But that's really the idea, and perhaps maybe further as well. So yeah, oil to me, more downside, which could mean some weakness for CAD as well, which is interesting. Yeah. Anyway, Yusuf, yes, we can take a look at GU. I'm still in longs. Okay, so you're still short. UJ still buying pound USD, so still looking for some strength. No, some weakness, sorry, on the dollar. So yeah, pound, not much has changed since we last spoke. Of course, we were rejecting support here. I would still say that was a very nice close yesterday. And of course, we've seen some momentum from there. And of course, naturally, price has come back to very strong support. So I quite like what I'm seeing. Really nice bounce at support, really nice push higher. So pound USD, if you are buying at the lows here, again, it's the same kind of chat we had earlier with, okay, if you're buying here, maybe your targets, of course, I know you're a bit more intraday, maybe you had targets here, or maybe you had targets up here, or again, maybe resistance there. If you are looking for the full swing on the range, you probably want to sit back and stomach some of the pullbacks. If price does come back to your entry, you can always exit at break even, look for re-entries if price gains momentum again. But so far, this is a really nice entry signal. I like the wicks to the downside here, really showing rejection. Even the hourly chart looked really, really good there. Nice wick, strong close. I do like the buy still. Of course, we are a little bit flat right now, probably because we are respecting some areas to the left, but I would still bank on some more upside. And if price does come back to my entry, like I said, I'll exit the trade and look for the re-entry if this was me in the position. But as prices are within the range, this is all I'm looking for pound USD. Until we make that commitment higher or lower, I'm just looking for price to continue to fluctuate. And that's literally what the DXY is still doing as well. Still fluctuating between high and low. So yeah, I would remain in that position. Nothing has happened to say, get out the position or price is no longer likely to get to your targets anymore. Price is still consistently respecting support and still showing momentum. So I would hold into that position. And if price does come back to your entry, probably you can look to exit and re-enter, and then go from there. But yeah, I'm not seeing any red flags for that position. What's up? 3 to naught. 3 to naught. I hope I'm saying that correctly. But welcome to the stream. Nazir, what's up? Yes, we can look at gold intraday, no problem. I suppose we'll just look at the 15-minute chart. Yes, Yurian taking partials 171.875. Okay, nice. And final target 171.250. Initially, the target was 170. If you do break out the range, okay, have a quick look at that. Then we go through gold as well. Very nice explanation you did. Thank you. I appreciate that. Targets 171.250. Okay, that's around there. And 170, which is okay, all the way down there. If we do break out the range, yeah, makes sense. If we do break out the range, then of course that would be the next target. Price is trapped within those two levels. If you see price make a move like this, well, where's the next level? It would be here. So that would be my next expectation, as long as we don't break back in the range. So yeah, I like that. Smart area for a short at the highs. If price does decide to continue the trend, you'll stop out, move on to the next position. Again, trading is not about avoiding loss. It's about keeping loss to a minimal. Every trade you take will always impose risk, and there always will be a chance of getting stopped out. No one's here to win every trade, but the aim of the game, keep losses minimal, keep trying to maximize wins, and having a positive risk reward is probably one of the best ways to actually do that. So yeah, looking good. Let's see if we can come back and retest that area. In terms of gold intraday, gold intraday is just looking to buy, really. It's just looking to buy. Actually, I take that back. There could be some nice sells, but the sells are a bit more aggressive. So you want to be on your toes with the shorts. I quite like this supply zone. Really strong drop to the downside. This move here looks quite corrective. I can see a world where we do test this area to come back down. Don't get me wrong, the bigger move for gold, I still see as very much to the upside. Primarily focusing this on the 4-hour chart, this is a very considerable move. I still do think as long as momentum sustains, there could be some nice buys off this zone here in particular. And that's kind of really where my focus is right now, looking for the test of this zone and then some buys. But let's say if we drop to the 15-minute chart, I do think in the meantime, you might see some nice shorts on the way down before the buys do step back in. But what I would say is, if you are going to take some shorts, be careful. Gold is a very bullish market right now, and that bullish momentum can step in at any point. So if you do find yourself, let's say, in a short from here, let's say the market does progress well in your favor, but then all of a sudden you see a big candle, maybe as the New York session opens up, and momentum is starting to shift against you. Don't be afraid to close the trade early, walk away with the small profits you've made or break even, and look to re-enter if things get better. If price comes back up and starts to show momentum again, cool, you can find the re-entry and hopefully take advantage of the move. But because of how bullish everything is, you don't want to sit in a short and watch price go against you, because this could easily go back to highs and further. And of course, if you're not trading for stop loss, that is definitely something to keep an eye on. But even if you do have a stop loss, you can probably manage that trade in and get out earlier. Because when momentum continues in this type of condition, environment, we could really rally. Momentum isn't for you for the sell, so you want to be quite aware of that. But on paper, it's a nice level for a short. Like I said, it's more an aggressive trade, so maybe wait for a nice counter trend line break. That could be a nice confirmation within itself. If you keep behaving correctly on the way up, test the zone, maybe a nice strong trend line break, that could be an entry, and then keep an eye on momentum as it does progress. If things continuously go your way, great, can hopefully trade that back to lows, and then maybe from then onwards we can speak about some buys on the way back up again. I still do expect price to return back to highs and further, But this was a pretty considerable sell on the 15-minute chart, and of course breaking some structure to our left as well. So I do think there is some continuation of that. But yeah, I still think the bigger move for gold is very much to the upside, and the buys is still the bigger move. So yeah, you can find yourself in a situation where you could be taking some sells to buy it back up again. But if you just want to focus on the buys, which makes sense as well, then I'll just keep an eye on this range here. We almost wicked into it, just missed it, which I quite like as well, because there will be some early buyers who are already getting involved. So if you can roll over again, take out that wick low, we can stop out those early buys, then find some nice entries to hopefully find the continuation. So that is kind of what my take is for gold. Very correct. Appreciate it. Appreciate it. But yeah, I mean, again, analysis is, you don't want to overcomplicate analysis. All you're looking to do is find, pretty much two things in trading. Well, when you're doing analysis, you want to find direction, and then you want to find the location of where you want to take advantage of that trade. So for example, if your bias on a particular market is bullish, that's great. And now the second thing to do is find, okay, where do you want to actually buy it? It's nice having a bullish bias or a bearish bias, but you also need to know where you want to take advantage of that bias, where from and where to. And those are the two key components. Are you bullish or bearish? Where do you want to buy it from or sell it from? Once you've got those two questions sorted, then you've got a plan. You've got an actionable plan you can go and trade, implement. And of course, in terms of style and how you derive that bias, whether you're looking at supply zones or support and resistance or trend line breaks or trend line retests or moving average crossovers or MACD or whatever technique you have or trade with, that's down to yourself as a trader. But it doesn't really matter the style or whatever you do. Everyone's going to come to that eventual conclusion of, okay, this market is likely to go up or down. Okay, where is it going to go up and down from? Once you got those two things sorted, you've got a plan. You got something to trade. And with gold, no different. Directional bias for me, pretty self-explanatory. Very, very bullish market. The bias is definitely up with this one. And then location, well, we've got a nice area of demand just below us, which gave us a very strong reaction. This is my zone which I want to be buying from. So now all I'm doing is just waiting for price to get there, reacting well. And of course, that's where entry confirmations come in, and then hopefully find a nice trade to take it back to highs. And again, just keeping it simple. No need to overcomplicate it more than that. And again, sometimes you will find some markets where the directional bias isn't clear as well. So don't feel obligated to come up with a directional bias. Sometimes I look at the market, I'm like, I have no idea what price is doing. And as a result, I move on to the next market or just wait for that market to improve, which might take a day, might take a week. I mean, gold was doing that for about 2 months, really. The price action was just ranging. But now direction is clear. We've got the breakout, momentum is strong. I know exactly what I want to do with this pair now. And yeah, you're just going to keep trading simple like that. You don't want to overcomplicate things. If you feel like you're taking a trade, you're not too sure about something, it's probably not a trade worth taking. That could be down to experience, or it could just be down to lack of confidence in your trading style. And that both of those situations are fine. It just means you probably want to build up some confidence, build up some experience, back testing, trading on a demo account, and kind of building up that rhythm before you do take it live. How many minutes does it take for you to analyze a market, and how long have you been trading with real account? Well, funny enough, I did start with a live account when I first started. Again, as probably most people do, even though you shouldn't really do that. You should start demo at least for a while, build up some confidence before going live, because you will probably just blow the account. But I mean, I started trading 8 years ago now, in 2017. But yeah, I did start off a live account straight away, but then I did use a demo account shortly afterwards for a while. So probably about maybe 6 years, 6.5 years, something like that. But yeah, I was on and off demo and live in the beginning, because of course there's no fun trading demo. But in terms of analysis, if I was to analyze a market, I would say from top to bottom, if I was looking at through fresh eyes, trying to find a setup. It probably would take me maybe about 2-3 minutes to analyze a market, I'd say, tops, to find a setup. Because again, I know what I'm looking for, so it's not like I'm coming up with new ideas on how to trade the market. I know what I'm looking for. I know what areas I want to be looking for those setups in. All I'm doing really in those 2-3 minutes is just trying to see what the market's like to do next. What is my bias? Like I said, is there a clear trend? Are we ranging? Is it a strong trend? Is it a light trend? Are we about to approach key resistance? Are we coming from key resistance or support? Those are the questions I'm asking. And I kind of only look at maybe 3 time frames, 4-hour daily and weekly mostly. I don't normally drop lower than that, and don't often normally go higher than that either, at least for my day-to-day analysis. So yeah, probably about 2-3 minutes really for each pair. I do most of my analysis on the weekend though. Most of my entries are on the 4-hour chart. The beauty of that, I can do all my analysis for the upcoming week on the weekend prior. I trade about 31, 32 markets, so I try to keep all my analysis done on the prior weekend. So I go through all of my pairs, see which are the best setups for the upcoming week, then create my watch list for the upcoming week, and that's normally about maybe 3 to 6 pairs on the watch list on average. And then from the day-to-day trading, it's just keeping up to date with new candles that print, maybe any news that comes out, and keeping up to date with the analysis. But for any given time, I'm only looking at really 3 to 6 pairs on my watch list. The rest are pairs which are not quite doing it for me or not quite ready yet. Miko took the yen basket as reference. Nice. That's why I'm selling euro yen. Okay. And yes, but I saw a doji reaction yesterday on the daily time frame, potentially forming a double bottom. Possibly that could be the situation. Again, doji doesn't necessarily mean a double bottom is going to happen or price is going to reject a level. Look at me, I'm typing double there. I'm going to type the yen basket. Yeah, so doji doesn't necessarily mean that we are going to bounce. It just means price has now lost that previous momentum and now on equilibrium at that support level, which could potentially continue lower or it could reverse. So dojis are more 50-50 than anything really. But it does mean the momentum has died. So of course, support over there, I think is probably what you're referencing, and the doji there has implanted. A nice signal would of course be, let's say if today's candle closes strongly bullish, that would be a strong sign to say that, okay, prices react to support. We're probably going to move back to resistance, which is probably maybe around here. So that would be a more confident approach. But the beauty of taking the trade with the doji is that you find an earlier entry. So you're kind of in the trade before the momentum has really entered the market, which means you find naturally a better entry, your risk reward will be better, and you're kind of in the trade before other people have already come in. Because of course, when you do see that strong close, a lot of people will be flooding to the market after seeing that, looking for the buys, but you're already in, so there's a positive there. The negative is that you leave yourself a bit more exposed because the momentum isn't there yet, price still may break lower, so you do take that added risk a little bit more. But then, you can balance that out with a better risk reward. Again, there's no right and wrong. It's just I'm explaining the pros and cons. But yeah, the doji does show that price is holding support for now. Yeah, we are still quite flat, which of course kind of is what the doji represents. We are kind of consolidating here. I think something to keep an eye on is if you can get a strong close in the 4-hour chart above all of this resistance, above all this noise. If you do see a strong close like that, that will show to you, okay, the buyers are truly stepping in. That will probably lead to a strong close on the daily chart as well. And then you can probably talk about a nice trend forming here, back to supplies there, maybe back to resistance up there as well. So that's probably what you're really looking for to get your trade kick-started. Otherwise, we might drop again and just continue to range inside here until eventually price picks a direction. But yeah, strong close like that should get the ball rolling. Appreciate it, Bashi. Yeah, guys, if you are enjoying the stream, please be sure to drop a like and subscribe to the channel. It does really help out the channel, the content. So, if you are enjoying it, finding it useful, drop a like. Subscribe to the channel, hit the bell as well so you don't miss out on any streams or uploads in the future. Share with your friends as well, and of course any pairs, any markets you want me to take a look at, drop it in the chat and we shall take a look. What's your take on the yen basket? Because previous days you've been bearish, so has anything changed? Yeah, I'm a bit more neutral now, to be honest. Like I said, I've been buying Aussie yen, so I have actually been pretty bearish on the yen itself, and that has played well with my trade, to be honest. I haven't necessarily seen a lot of yen weakness, so you know, Aussie yen's probably actually the best performing yen pair on the way up, so I've been quite fortunate with that. But yeah, I've been pretty bearish on the yen. Now that prices hit resistance, equally so, Aussie yen's hit resistance right now. So now I'm a bit more neutral because this could reject very aggressively. Price could make a move down. This is where my stop loss is now trailed to. So it's actually not too far away from my stop loss. It could be taken out pretty soon, potentially. And same with the yen basket as well. We've been pretty bearish. We had that counter trend line, which price broke as well, which is what I was waiting for, and we did see a nice breakout, and that gave us a nice bearish move. But the way I see it now is that price is just ranging, it's just flat within this area. So my bias is a bit more 50-50 now. We're approaching support. Maybe we do see a pushback to resistance. Maybe we do see price breakout. It's not clear anymore. There has been, you know, somewhat of a bearish trend, which has continued here. You know, with all these lower highs. But is that trend still continuing, or is it bottoming out for us to see something like that? Again, we don't know. Until we kind of get that move, it's kind of up in the air. There is still support below us, which we could still come and retest. So I can still see a world where we do drop lower. But yeah, I think I'm a bit more neutral now. I'll still say I'm bearish because of this trend. But yeah, we are really struggling to break lower. And I can see that happening as well. So yeah, I would say I'm a bit more neutral. Hey, thank you, appreciate it. What's your view on ICT? I don't really have much of a review, to be honest. In terms of the style of trading, I haven't really looked into it, so I don't really know much about it. Don't really know much about the person either. Again, I very much like staying in my own lane, so stuff with ICT I'm not really too knowledgeable about, to be honest. Yusuf, no problem. Appreciate it. Thank you. Shadrach, what's up? Great analysis. It's been a while on the live streams. Yeah, I have missed you. Welcome back. Hope you're doing good. Really missed them. Glad to hear. Appreciate it. But happy to have you back on the stream. How's it been? Any markets you're looking at, feel free to let us know. And you're still holding longs in Aussie yen? Yes, I am still holding longs in Aussie yen. I probably will be trailed out soon though, because momentum has shifted against me, and my stop loss isn't too far from where price is at the moment, so I might be taken out soon. My stop loss is at 96.441, which is just underneath some structure there. So if price does come there, I'll be taken out. But if we do find support and push up, great. I'll start trading it some more. But we have rejected highs here, so there's no point of me trying to stay in the trade for too long, because we could actually see a big reaction here. You know, when I've already caught such a nice swing, there's no need to give all of that back to the market. So yeah, I'm kind of being a bit more aggressive with my stop loss now. But yeah, for now, I am still just about in the trade. All my pairs are basically ranging except for gold. I was actually thinking of adding one more pair. How many pairs do you trade, Yusuf? How many pairs on your watch list? Yeah, euro, pound, choppy. Actually, CHF, GJ better. Yeah, they are choppy as well. And again, knowing their environment, knowing your conditions is really important, because when things are trending, you know, trending strategies, trending techniques, momentum following techniques play out very well. When things start to range, that's when you want to kind of scale those strategies back And if you do have any kind of more mean reversion, range bound strategies, then those are the strategies you want to deploy. The worst thing to do is trade something with a trending strategy, momentum following strategy in a ranging condition. It just doesn't make any sense really. So knowing your strategy and knowing your conditions, which are tailored to your strategy, is really important. So if you can notice that, okay, conditions are flat now, things are starting to chop around, and if I do like trading trending conditions, maybe it's time for me to fall back and not force any trades. And that's a big part of trading, because a lot of people would just kind of show up the same day and still force the same trade regardless of conditions. Yes, I do stream every day, or every weekday, Monday to Friday. Monday to Friday from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. UK time. Hey, subscribed already. Appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you. Now, GJ is my fav. To be fair, Pound Yen is actually my favorite pair. It's probably between Pound Yen and Pound USD, but I think Pound Yen probably just edges it. Favorite pair to trade. But the thing is, I don't go and actively look to trade Pound Yen. It's just when there is a setup there, in terms of my win rate is actually high on Pound Yen, which is why it's my favorite pair. Not because there's anything special about it. It's just, it seems to play out better for me. But yeah, I don't actively go look to trade Pound Yen. It's just if there's a good opportunity there, I know I've got a bit more success with that. But if there's a better opportunity in another pair, I will look to trade that pair as well. Oh, 5 pairs. I mean, you trade a lot on the 15-minute chart, so I think 5 is a good number. You could probably add 6. I mean, 5, 6 is not gonna. Adding another pair is not gonna derail your balance as a trader. So one more pair wouldn't hurt, because again, you do want options, but naturally there will be times, if you have 6, 7, 8 pairs, there will be times where things are choppy across most of them. Because if you do trade for long enough, you do understand that a lot of these pairs are correlated between them, even if the correlation isn't clear. For example, like Pound CHF and Euro USD, there isn't a clear connection, a clear correlation between them, but there is correlation. Euro and Pound are quite correlated, USD and CHF are quite correlated. When things affect Euro USD, things are affecting Pound Swiss as well. Not to a large scale like Euro USD and Pound USD, but there is a correlation there. So what you will see is a lot of these pairs correlate together, and they will consolidate together, they'll trend together, reverse together as well. So there will be a commonality between a lot of these FX pairs, because a lot of the same things affect everything. Nothing's completely isolated. So everything is somewhat of a correlation of each other, and adding more pairs will help and give you in terms of more opportunities. But there will still be times where things across all of them are a little bit choppy, and you're going to have to hold your horses a little bit. So yeah, adding one more pair won't hurt. 5 to 6 pairs won't hurt. Again, because you are on the 15, I probably wouldn't look to add more than 7 or 8. Any more than that, you're kind of probably doing too much there. So yeah, I'll probably say you can add one more. Give yourself a bit more options. Again, as long as it feels comfortable as well. Bashi, detail and funded trading now. Hey, congratulations, well done. Well done, Bashi. Again, that's where the hard work and the consistency pays off. Because when you do get funded, it's not only about getting funded, it's all about the risk management, the process, the application of the knowledge. Because anyone can hit a winning trade, but the consistency to get funded in terms of managing your risk is kind of what makes the trader really at the end of the day. Because anyone can just get lucky for a position, but in terms of the consistency to manage that over time and manage your drawdown, That's where the skill set is. So congrats, Bashi. Keep it up, my man. Okay, where was I? I've lost track. No problem. Happy to help. We'll put it to good use. Good to hear. Need to be careful for good trades with these market conditions. Absolutely. I'll take a look at pound yen actually in a minute. M1 at 4 pairs and it's a handful. Yeah, exactly. 4 pairs. Some people in M1 actually stick to 1 pair. But yeah, 4 pairs would give you some options. I think, and again, you will miss opportunities as well because you do trade 4 pairs. There will be times where you do miss a trade on one of those pairs because you're focusing on another one. So in terms of opportunity, you will have an abundance of it. So it really much is just selection and yeah, it really is just selection because you have a lot of opportunities to look at. So 50-minute chart, you can probably get away with 6, 7, 8. Any more than that might be a bit of a handful as well. But again, you will know it personally. You will feel yourself kind of scrambling through pairs if you do find yourself doing that. And it's hard to keep up to date with price action, then you can always reduce. The thing about anything, it's not set in stone. If you add pairs, you find it's too much, then take some off. If you feel like you can handle more, then you can add more. Do you trade fundamentals? Also, is it possible to use fundamentals in alignment with your strategy? Asking because there's NFP tomorrow. Yeah, I don't trade fundamentals in terms of using it to derive a bias. I keep up to date with fundamentals, especially with news releases like NFP, Fed interest rate, because all of that will have a dramatic effect on the market when it is released, of course. So I do keep up to date with news releases in terms of kind of my strategy in terms of direction, analysis, entries, management. That's all to do with technicals. I'm a very, very technical trader, and that's kind of where my edge does lie. You can use fundamentals with my strategy. You can use fundamentals pretty much for any strategy because technicals and fundamentals are separate within itself. Technicals is all about kind of using patterns to derive what price could do in the future. Fundamentals kind of looks at, okay, well, what are people doing? Are people buying this? Are people selling this? Are people going to be selling this? That's a different kind of element to trading itself. So you can use it with pretty much any strategy. But yeah, in terms of myself, I just keep up to date with news releases just in terms of risk, really. Javi, thanks for the stream. No problem. Such a blessing to have someone with experience guide you on your journey of Forex. No problem, man. I'm glad you're enjoying the streams. No problem, Bash. You keep it up, my man. Yusuf, I'm looking to add a pair that's not USD. Okay, so not a major pair, so that price action would be very similar to the DXY. Yeah, good. You do want to give yourself some options, actually. I would say a good pair to look at. How many yen pairs do you trade? Because if you trade one, you can add a second yen pair, especially if you trade dollar yen, which doesn't always correlate well with the other yen pairs. You can add another one. That will add some nice variation. If you're looking at some of the minor pairs, I would suggest a good one could be pound CAD's not bad. It moves similar to pound USD though. But it will give you some more opportunities. It does consolidate a little bit more than pound USD. So if you do like mean reversion opportunities, you can find some nice opportunities on pound CAD. Pound Aussie is good. It does trend pretty well. It has some explosive moves. It's not really correlated with USD pairs, kind of not much, to be honest, because you've got those two minor currencies there which kind of oppose each other quite a lot, pound and Aussie dollar, or pound and NZD, or euro and Aussie, euro and NZD. Those kind of pairs do act as a nice kind of alternative markets to look at. So I would suggest probably pound Aussie. It moves a lot. Again, a bit more choppy as well. So mean reversion opportunities do play out pretty well with that one as well. Yeah, I would recommend those. CHF can be quite choppy, almost too choppy sometimes. So I'm not too sure if I recommend those. And sometimes swaps can be quite nasty as well. And if you do hold trades overnight, that could come at you. Spreads are not particularly great as well if spreads is something you want to focus on. Yeah, I'll probably recommend those. What's up, Lighton? Welcome to the stream. Hope you're well. Yeah, slow and steady to maintain consistent profitability. Absolutely. Yeah, keeping drawdown low. Yeah, of course, it does limit your profits, but in terms of the stress mentally, it's just a lot better. You know, trading while stressed versus trading whilst calm, almost two different activities, really, to be honest. Trading stress is not great at all because you're emotional. Every pip feels like a whole mountain. So it's not great. But when you're trading and risk is small and it's managed and emotionally you're in a pretty good place, not necessarily happy, but you're just kind of calm and relaxed with trading. Trading can be so much as a calm. It doesn't have to be stressful. It can be very calm. And when you're trading in that kind of environment, I would say your performance will be a lot better anyway. Manage trades better, enter trades better, not rush into positions, not exit positions early. All of that would just be a bare minimal when you're in that kind of state. Yeah, we can take a look at Dollar Seed Chef Lighton, no problemo. What do you work on your psychology to get to the point that you're at now? Because swing requires a lot of mental strength. What steps or advice can you give for someone struggling with psychology? Good question. I mean, psychology is so broad as well. So there's so many different topics you could be struggling with. And each will have their own kind of solutions to them. I would say in general, in terms of swing trading, of course, you can say it takes a lot of mental strength to hold positions, but I feel like it really suits my personality. So by default, I kind of drift more of this style of trading rather than the fast and furious of the lower time frames. I feel like this suits me more as a person. So naturally, it doesn't take so much mental strength to adapt to this. I think a good part of psychology, the reason why you become quite emotional is because there's a lot of stress, whether the money you're risking is a lot, what's on the line is a lot, you're not quite confident with what you're doing. You're more emotional when things are not really in your control, when you don't really know what's going on. So in terms of improving your psychology, you have to make sure that you're in control of what's going on, which is keeping risk small to a point where the risk doesn't really matter. In terms of the position. So I know people say risk 1%, risk 0.1%. Keep the risk really small. You can always increase it later on once you find consistency. So keep risk really small. That way you can focus more on the art of actually trading and the analysis rather than the monetary side of things, which will come later. So keep risk small. That keeps your emotion down. So you're more focused on the chart. In terms of strategy, get really good at the strategy. You want to be really, really kind of focused on a particular style of trading and get really good at it. Kind of ignore the noise, get really good at one thing. And that comes down to back testing a lot, spending a lot of hours going through markets, applying the same analysis and getting good at that. And of course, live trading on a demo account as well. So once you get confidence in the strategy, then you get confidence trading live. And of course, like I said, keep risk small. You get confidence as you continue. And you start focusing on your actions rather than what the market's going to do next, because you know the sum of all your actions will eventually equal profitability in the long run. So in terms of getting your psychology to a healthy state, it comes really down to confidence in your ability and your management, and just making sure that nothing's really on the line. The risk is really, really small. You can always build up risk as you go on. So I would recommend to focus on those things. Again, there's so many different avenues of psychology you can go into, but I'll say that's a broad kind of place to start. Yeah, and in terms of swing trading, holding positions for a long time, for me, there is no real struggle to that because I've been doing it for a while, and again, like I said, my personality is quite tailored to this. But again, keeping risk small is a good way to help with holding trades for longer. If I had a huge position then yeah, I would be quite nervous. But if the positions are smaller, of course, relative to your account, then it makes it easier to hold positions. You can hold through NFP, you can hold through Fed interest rate, because, okay, worst case scenario, you do take a loss, it's not going to wipe you out or anything of that nature. So yeah, those are some things to comment on. I'll probably create some more videos, separate videos in terms of psychology to go through, because it's such a broad topic. That's what I would say to start with. But yeah, USD's are lighting. This one has been looking pretty bullish today. I still think price, again, eventually is going to push the lows, but it does look like price is just consolidating now. You know, equal lows here, your equal highs there, and price essentially just has been bouncing between the two areas. It would have been nice if we did come back to test the level again, but unfortunately that wasn't the case. I said yesterday it would be nice if we can push back into the support level, then find a bounce off that, but unfortunately price didn't quite do that. Anyway, we're back at resistance here. Is price going to break through? Maybe. I mean, it looks like we're teasing the idea. I wouldn't judge that until I see the candle close, because it is forming a bit of a wick. In the next 2 hours, this wick could fill and we can see a strong close, or it could become even bigger and this could close bearish, and of course that would change my opinion quite a lot. So the candle closure there is quite important. There could be some intraday opportunities on a long. Let's say if price does show strength and closes cleanly above the level, then there could be some nice pullback opportunities intraday to try and find that momentum, because this has been a very significant level of resistance on the lower time frames. A lot of rejections here, so naturally a break of that, it should act as support pretty well. I wouldn't look for like a crazy swing. It's more so just a quick in and out position, a quick trade off a significant low, just because the way I see it, you know, this is the high, this is the low of the range. This is more to do with the middle. So naturally, I'm going to expect price to be a bit more chaotic, fluctuate a lot more. So I wouldn't be looking for a big swing trade from this area, because I don't think I'm positioned well. If I was taking a trade here, I wouldn't mind for a swing trade, because I know I'm backed against a really significant level. Here, not as much. So I think a quick intraday trade could look good there on a break and retest, and maybe some momentum for the rest of the day, and maybe even into Friday as well. But yeah, USDs are still quite flat. This still is a nice area to keep an eye on for a buy. Yeah, maybe get a nice break and retest there, but that's about it for USDs at the moment. So yeah, hopefully that made some sense. GJ and UJ are the only yen pair. Yeah, if you already got GJ and UJ, then probably not another yen pair then. I'd say you kind of got that covered. Again, every yen pair is going to have its own flavor, but if you're looking for things that are not really correlated well with USD, I'd say like a pound Aussie might be good, or like a pound Aussie, like a Euro NZD. Psychology, yeah. Bashi's a big trading psychology activist. Is trading on a mobile recommended? No, I would not recommend that. Again, you do what you have to. If you only have access to a mobile, then of course you do what you have to, really. But the bigger the real estate, the better. If you got a nice computer or a desktop screen to look at, it makes the analysis a little bit a lot easier, because you're not scrolling through your phone using your fingertips. You can use a mouse, and this becomes a lot easier to read. If I was looking at this through a phone, I'd probably only have access to about this much price action, and all this would be bunched up. A laptop, a screen, I can zoom out and really take in the price action for what it is. Analysis becomes a lot easier as well. In terms of execution, sure, I actually use my phone quite a lot of the times, especially if I'm out and about. I will execute my positions on my phone, just because it's fairly easy to do, and there's no kind of disadvantage. I've already done all my analysis on my desktop, so in terms of entries, it's just waiting for the entry to form and then take the trade. I use my phone quite a lot of the time. But in terms of analysis, I think the phone is not great, but again, if you only have access to it, then you do what you have to, I guess. Anyway, guys, we are approaching the end of the stream. Oh, USDC Chef. Do you miss USDC Chef? My bad. I would go for USDC Chef. Because you always say USDZR, Lighten, so I just type USDZR again. I've got USDZR on the brain. It's because you always say USDZR, so I just thought USDC Chef. Anyway, USDC Chef. Not the biggest favorite, fan favorite right now of USDC Chef because it's really corrective. Really corrective. So if price is going to sell off, yeah, I mean, I like it when there's more momentum because that gives me confidence to continue a trend. If things are really corrective on the way down, that doesn't give me confidence to keep selling. That shows that the trend is tiring and possibly we're getting ready for something like that. So in terms of shorts, I still think this level is not a bad place for a short. We're still continuous with these lower highs, 1, 2, 3, could argue 4 there. You know, we've got a reference with this trend line coming into play. So that's still a nice place for a short, but I'd be very kind of, what's the word? I'll manage that trade quite closely because I'm not convinced that price is just going to sell off and just everything be, rosy on the way down. We're really struggling to fall. So yes, this is still a nice place for a short. Key resistance, I think we can catch a move down. I can see a situation where we see a push down, price forms support, and maybe goes against us. I think if we do break this counter trend line well, that could actually insinuate some really nice buys, and we could start to see price trend. This might end up just being a big kind of flag pattern, for this impulse move, and we might see price continue off the back of that. So I can see that happening there for dollar CHF, but I would wait for the break of the trend line before getting into a lot of detail about that. For now, resistance makes sense around 0.807. I'll keep an eye out for that. I might see some nice downside from there onwards. But yeah, I'll be very kind of conservative with that position, not trying to be too greedy. I'm not quite convinced with this bearish structure, especially with how corrective we are looking. So yeah, apologies. Hopefully that made sense though. Yeah, technicals are nothing if you can't follow a plan, all of that crazy stuff like cutting wins and running the stop loss. Yeah, of course. Yeah, a plan is essential as well. But anyway, guys, we have approached the end of the stream. I hope you have found it useful and enjoyed it. If so, please be sure to drop a like and subscribe to the stream, share it with your friends, and of course hit the bell so you don't miss out on any streams or uploads in the future. If you do want to support the channel further, I do have memberships. You can join the channel, become a member. There's some added perks there. You can have access to members only videos. So if you do want to support the channel further and do want some more content, signal breakdowns as well, you can check that out if you are interested. But guys, really appreciate you tuning into the stream. I'll drop again the link to the competition we're running on our perps platform. If you haven't checked it out, go and do so. Again, it's just a bit of fun to get people trading on the platform. There will be some cash rewards for the best performing traders there. So if you are interested, drop your email and there'll be more information regarding that in the coming days. But guys, really appreciate you tuning into the stream. Have a great one. Thank you, Bashi, for dropping the links there. Appreciate that. I will be live again. Actually, I'll be live again later today on TradingNix channel. I forgot about that. So in about a couple of hours time, 2 hours and 30 minutes, I think. I'll be live on TradingNix channel. So if you do want to see more of me, go check out his channel. If not, I'll be live here again tomorrow, same time as always, 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. UK time. But guys, appreciate it. Have a good one. Catch you all in the next one.
Six AI agents, each built with a unique edge. Miko, AI, Team Leader. Ori AI, Fundamental Analyst. Exi, AI, Technical Analyst. Mesa, AI, Risk Management Specialist. Fenwa, AI Market Sentiment Analyst. And Naledi AI, the cryptocurrency expert. Together, they're engineered to protect, guide, and transform your trading. The future of trading is here. Experience Zentrix AI